Well, the starting lineup is filling out and only a handful of positions remain open in President-elect Trump's second-term administration. At this pace, we expect a full roster pretty soon. Senate Republicans, well, they promised to have Trump's cabinet in place for his first day in office. Confirmation hearings will begin with the new Congress in January. So what trends can we discern so far from the choices? New Jersey Republican Congressman Jeff Van Drew joins us. He was chairman of the Trump campaign in his state. Congressman, good to see you and welcome.
Good to be with you.
Well, we just had the breaking news a few moments ago. Brooke Rollins, announced by the president-elect as Agriculture Secretary. She's close to him. She was head of is head of the America First Policy Institute, which was founded in 2021 to carry on the Trump public policies, chair of the Domestic Policy Council in his first term. So do you see that he's picking people, who can carry out his vision, carry out his philosophy and his policies in the federal government?
He is, and that's what a president should do, and that's what the majority should do. Look, there was a strong voice in America. We voted, and we decided that the path we were on was not good, and we needed a new path. And what is great about the people who he is appointing they are people that are not just part of the system. It's not the same old, same old. It's not just, Republicans and Democrats not having any real differences or not meaning anything. Sometimes people used to call Washington the uniparty with good reason. This is a significant change, a new focus, a new vision, bringing America back home for a better, bigger, stronger America.
What are the big choices? Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, billionaire hedge fund, operator. He's seen, as they say, someone who could placate Wall Street, at the same time be kind of a disruptor and raise some eyebrows because he had been the chief investment officer at one point for George Soros. What do you see? Will he address the debt, and how will he address the economy, do you think?
Look, he's a smart guy. He knows where the skeletons are hidden. He knows what the problems are. And he truthfully knows how we've been misled and gone down the wrong track. So what he knows is when you have a vibrant economy, when you cut taxes, when you increase revenue, when you're exporting energy and have all the energy that you need in America, that then you will have a better and stronger country, and everyone will do better, from the billionaires right down to the guy breaking his back, working every single day for a union. This is an exciting time. And you know what's exciting? We haven't had a president in modern history who was willing to go outside the normal envelope of what Washington does. This is different. I was speaking to Bobby Kennedy just about an hour ago, talking about health. We spend more dollars per capita in health than any other country in the world, yet we still don't have by far the best infant mortality or the greatest longevity. We can do better in every single way, and I believe we will. It's going to be a bumpy ride, by the way. It's not going to be easy, but we're going to do it.
You talk about health, and you know that firsthand. You're a dentist, or have been a dentist, and there's some, doctors and others of your profession in Congress, and one of them was appointed head of the CDC, former Florida Representative Dave Weldon was in Congress. Of course, there's Jeanette Neshawat, a favorite of ours here, has been a Fox News contributor. She is nominee for a Surgeon General, and Dr. Marty Makary, who's familiar to our audience, nominee of the FDA Commissioner. Here's what the president-elect said about Dr. Makary. Dealing with the CDC. The agency needs, and the FDA, the agency needs Dr. Marty Makary, a highly respected Johns Hopkins surgical oncologist and health policy expert, to course correct and refocus the agency to, among other things, properly evaluate harmful chemicals poisoning our nation's food supply and drugs and biologics being given to our nation's youth so we can finally address the childhood chronic disease epidemic. Dr. Makary at the FDA, what changes do you see? And it's interesting because that announcement is addressing issues that you usually don't hear directly from Washington. You instead hear dealing with the industry and big pharma.
Exactly. And there's a lot more to healthcare than big pharma. Quite frankly, as a healthcare provider, I know, and I think good healthcare providers know, that healthcare is more than just how many prescriptions you're getting and what you're taking and how many surgeries you've had. Don't get me wrong. We still need prescriptions. We still obviously need surgery, but that isn't all there is to it. There's a holistic approach. What you eat, how you feel, what you do you exercise? Do you take care of yourself? All that's so important. Our kids, this generation of children, are the unhealthiest generation of children ever. We've got to reverse that. I believe we should bring something back, and I spoke to Bobby Kennedy, just like I said an hour ago, about it, the President's Physical Fitness Council, where we really encourage you to be healthy.
When you talk to Mr. Kennedy, I mean, what type of advice do you give him? Of course, he's been criticized for some of his vaccine positions. Are you concerned about that, and what do you see down the road?
Here's what I believe in. I believe in America. In America, you have choice. If you need a vaccine and you think it's the right thing for you, you and your doctor decide. If you want fluoride in your water, and I'm a dentist, and I understand the benefits of it. But if you want it, you decide. Not everybody should be mass fluoridated. That's what healthcare is about. Individual Americans deciding what they should do. It is not about what happened in COVID, where big government, almost like a socialist state, came in and forced us all to do things that weren't good for our kids, weren't good for their education, weren't good for a lot of people's health, and just benefited big pharma. That's wrong. We've got to change that.
All right, we're going to change America's health right now. I can't let you go because you are a dentist. Please talk about the importance of flossing. I get it at home all the time. I'm yelled at about that. You got to do it, because isn't there a connection to heart, or is there? Can you straighten that out and clarify?
I'm going to make a suggestion to you. Don't get yelled at. Just floss every day. It's a lot easier than getting yelled at. Secondly, you can tell by the condition of somebody's mouth and the inflammatory process in their gums, and if there is presence of infection in their gums, it also affects your cardiovascular health and your entire system. That's the point. This is all interrelated, and running string through your teeth is healthy. It makes your teeth better, it makes your gums better, and it makes your breath better as well as tongue scraping, by the way.
Oh, okay. We're getting healthy already, Congressman and dentist Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey. Congressman, always good to see you. Thank you for joining us today.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.